All right, we're live with the Vitrina podcast. A very, very warm welcome to all of our members and to our very special guest today. Mr. Prithul Kumar is joining us all the way from New Delhi. And this is a very special podcast because we'll discuss the initiatives that the government of India is taking in the entertainment sector and for the promotion of it. We'll be discussing those initiatives with our guest today. A quick introduction. Mr. Pitul Kumar is Joint Secretary of Films at the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. He also serves as the Managing Director of the National Film Development Corporation of India. So, Mr. Kumar, a very, very warm welcome to you. A pleasure having you here. To kickstart this conversation, would love to hear from you. How do you look at the ministry's remit and also some of the initiatives that your office is driving at this point?
So, very warm welcome to everyone, and a very good morning to all the listeners, and of course to you. And I would begin by saying that the last year, some of the few remarkable things which has been done in the films and the other audiovisual landscape in India from the government side was starting with the government going ahead and reforming the Cinematograph Act, which deals with the film's exhibition in India after 40 years. So that was a remarkable thing because technologies have changed, and over a period of time. So so many things new have come. New challenges were there in terms of piracy, online piracy. So all of them have been very, very strongly addressed, and also the content part of it, that people just don't want just don't want to know whether it's an adult film, or they want much more descriptive content about the content. So all of that has been included. So whatever was the lag in terms of the policy, that has been completely addressed. So that was one very important thing which impacts the overall industry in the back end. And that is how we also noticed that the piracy was so much going down because of the bigger punishments which were there in the act now. So in India, that is, we see that happening. We also see that the total film revenues have also increased a lot because of that. So that was one. But then lot of other things were very, very important. Like, we also completely redid the initiatives which were launched in 2022. So they were completely revamped, and the incentive cap was itself taken to 12 times what it actually was, and the now cap stands about $3.6 million, which is a very, very comparable and one of the world's best caps which is available. And given the India's cost competitiveness by itself, so that cap is a huge incentive for anybody from the foreign production to think of partnering with India in some form or the other, to be able to benefiting from the costs and the incentives which we offer from India. So these were the two important things. There is a lot also in the offing, and we are still working on it. And I'm sure that a lot in terms of the audio visual, this animation visual effects sector, that is one of the 12 champion service sectors which has been identified by the government. And we believe that there is a lot of scope uh, starting now, like the IT industry was in the 90s. That is how the government identifies this sector now. And with metaverse coming, with the 5Gs proliferating, the mobile internet proliferating, so the requirement of the content creation in this segment of AVGC will be very, very important, and we are working towards it.
Fantastic. The last time that we were speaking, you were also talking about the 12 sunrise sectors that have been identified by the government. One of them was AVGC Acceler within the entertainment industry. Would be great to understand how do you look at this sector and also some of the special incentives and programs that are being rolled out by your ministry.
So we believe as the content creation hits the pedal, like metaverse has to be created, so entire content which is going to come from this sector. That's what we believe. And as gaming itself is increasing, as gamification of everything, all like from education, from skilling, everything is moving towards gamification. So here, AVGC sector will be one important sector. And now this is especially a different sector than IT. That's how it is treated by the Indian government, because it's utilizing IT to a certain extent, but this sector primarily has people who have fine arts background, so people who
Right.
understand graphics essentially, and arts is there innately in them. That is how they utilize the IT and be able to deliver this AVGC content. The government had identified this thing, that its importance last year, and in 2022 a task force had been established by the government, and it was cross cutting. It had about 80 people working on the task force, of which more than 50% were directly from the industry, various people, gaming, animation, visual effects industry. So all of them were a part of it. And of course, from the government, we had just not the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting working, but also Ministry of Education, Skilling, Ministry of IT. So all the relevant departments, the people had got together, because the way task force worked and the kind of recommendation it has given, it starts not just from the point of view of delivery of these services, but it identifies that the work has to be started of strengthening this from the education level. Like the students, the children who are going to school, going children should be exposed to it. They have to be told, their parents also have to be told that there is future in this kind of a career. And then it goes ahead and identifies the skill gaps and how skilling can be done, how we can have education at graduate level, postgraduate, and also research. So all of that is incorporated. And then of course the industry requirements as to what kind of infrastructure is required, because here when we talk about the AVGC sector, the kind of IT infrastructure is very, very expensive, and it's very, very intensive. So the government has also identified that we will, with the help of state governments, will start working with them. So that's all about it, which happened in 2022 and 23. We have so many states who have rolled out their state policies for this sector, that how they will be incentivizing in terms of space, in terms of taxes. So
Hmm.
many of the incentives they have sort of rolled out. The central government is also working towards a national policy for promotion of this sector, and at the same time we are also working for having a national center of excellence for this sector, which will keep guiding the education, the skilling, the industry infrastructure, and its replication across the country by the private sector. So the government is working for that, in along with the industry to be a partner of it, and also the government of Maharashtra. So it's very intensively being worked out, and we understand that this sector is very, very important in the times to come.
That's great to know. One aspect I wanted to dig a little deeper into was relating to the whole availability of talent and resources. From your perspective at this point, which are the key centers that you are already seeing emerge very rapidly in India? I mean, traditionally, Mumbai, Hyderabad, Bangalore, Chennai used to be big centers in film production, post production, and a host of other related aspects of this business. Is that changing very rapidly? And how do you see that change, especially as state governments, different state governments, also incentivize this sector in a big way?
So as we speak, then when we started in 2023, I think we only have 4 or 5 states who had formal policies identifying this sector and trying to promote this sector. But
Hmm.
in 1 year's span of time, I think about 13 states have been actually onboarded, and about 10 more states are working in this field, engaging with the industry and trying to understand their needs and providing for it. And it goes on for, like, some states are already creating big infrastructure to provide industry as a startup hub and all that, and some of them are giving incentives. So it's not be appropriate to say that these are the only centers available, because everybody is understanding the importance of it.
Interesting.
I will go ahead and say that this is a part of mostly the post production in content making,
Right.
and and as we see in even in our films today, the post production, the VFX is about 40% now of the total expense of production. So what we sort of consider is that because this is becoming increasingly more important in any of the content, but the rest of the content will also require resources. So we had initiated, the government of India had initiated something called FFO, the Film Facilitation Office, in 2016, which was supposed to be a single point of contact for any production house to come into India and do live location shooting or get some kind of a post production done. And we have seen that dynamically, not just in terms of live shooting, India has become important, but also for post production. All these features are there. Like this AVGC sector is currently servicing a lot of Hollywood and a lot of international content. Uh, the work is getting done in India, of course, in offices in Bangalore, Mumbai, Hyderabad to start with, but a lot of centers are doing such kind of a work. But I will come back to again to FFO, the Film Facilitation Office, which has been completely by because we have revised. I was telling that we have revised the guidelines last year, and the revision of guidelines is just not upping the cap for incentives, but also making sure that the incentives delivery is very, very easy and seamless. Like I would say that the whole thing for which we went into the incentives guidelines revision was that when we gave out the first incentive, it took about 6 to 2 days for us to do it, and two back and forth for the bills and clarifications. So we suo moto sort of took it up, and then we studied the world's best practices, and we saw that generally countries are stipulating times between 100 days to 270 days ab initio that they will require for processing. But our target was to keep it below 2 months. So that is why we wanted a simplification, and the simplification is like, A, we have elucidated all the documents which are required, and B, for AVGC specifically, we've just said that 4 or 5 documents are required, and it's been made really simple. We don't go into the details of it. It's just been so simplified as to whatever is the contract value, some percentage will be deducted for your establishment charges. Rest, all of it can be availed as incentives or whatever work is getting done for AVGC in India. So that's the part of simplification which has been got through the new FFO guidelines. At the same time, we are also in the process of revamping the FFO portal. Right now, the applications are online for especially for the central incentives and the central clearances for visa. But now we are trying to do the whole processing of incentives and the whole processing of any sort of clearances which is required, not just the visa clearances, but also suppose it's an archaeological society of India whose clearance is required for a monument for shooting. That also will be given online, and nobody needs to go from one to different agencies. So that's the whole thing. That it's going to be a real single point of contact for anybody who wants to come there. Another thing which is being strengthened in the portal is trying to map the resources, not just in terms of film locations across the country, but also filming resources like whatever are the equipments are available,
Right.
various places, geologic with GIS codes, in the sense that it will be mapped to the location. That these are the kind of things which are available, say in 20 kilometers, 100 kilometers, and the film resources, as in people who are available, the skills which are available around. So all of it is going to be mapped, and it will be a single point of contact, truly, for anybody who's coming and thinking of doing any sort of production or post production in India. So I
Fantastic. I
think
mean,
that,
this is
that is going to take another 6 months to an year. It's going to be implemented in phases, but that
okay.
is the long term vision.
Okay. And then the incentives that the central government is offering versus those that the state governments offer. How is that coordination typically? How should we think about that?
So the central government incentives are majorly directed for the foreign film productions.
Okay.
The state governments also, for the different states, they have come out with their policies,
Okay.
and some states go up to $0.5 million also in their offering. So that will be in addition to the
Additional.
$3.6 million with the central government is offering. So it can total can go up to $4 million.
Okay.
But different states have their different limits. They have different conditions for giving the incentives. But one more thing which I like to add is two more things, in fact, which I like to add is a the foreign film production agency will get the tax credits of the general services tax, which is levied because it's a foreign. The service is going to foreign, so it will not be that will be refunded.
Okay.
And the second more important thing is the cost competitiveness of the resources in India.
That's
So
right.
we already know that from any sector it will be 2 to 3 times cheaper for any kind of services which we have in India. Like we were talking of AVGC, it is like 3 times cheaper for its for the same quality which is available in the rest of the world. So that is also one thing which is very very attractive, and that should also be known to the people that it's
Understood.
there.
This is
And because just one more thing, I'm so sorry, but
sure, sure.
one more thing is that here the entire gamut is available, gamut of services available, in the sense not just post production, if any sound requirement is there, or if any other kind of skills it is, because the Indian film industry is so big. We produce the highest number of films worldwide, so that is the kind of ecosystem, self sustainable ecosystem, which has already been inbuilt because of being such an old and such a big film industry in the country. So everything will be available, and that too at a cost competitive price.
That's great to know. One related question that I had was about the local industry's response to some of the initiatives that you're rolling out. What's been the response from local players? Are they bringing in new foreign partners? Are you seeing that excitement already come through from some of the local players?
Yeah, so what happened is when I told you that the film facilitation office was basically made as a single point of contact for foreign productions coming into India.
That's right.
But because it had been so successful for them that I would just go ahead and tell you that the promise which was made in the FFO, when the FFO was being made, that the film shooting clearances will be granted in 28 days time. But I'll tell you, till date, the average is below 20 days. So they have been performing much faster,
Wow.
even then, in some cases, it'll be
Okay.
fast, it'll be even faster. So then it was extended because the states also demanded and the local film industry also demanded that this kind of a facility which is available to the foreign film production should also be made available to India. So as a matter of fact, since 2019, the FFO is also facilitating the local film industry to shoot anywhere in India. The state governments, because of the interstate competitiveness which they want themselves to promote more film locations in their state. So they are giving a lot of incentives to the filmmakers in India. So that's how they sort of they are also adding to the incentives. What you said is very important, that with the launch of this such a big incentives and such and also that the very fact that our culturals are transcending the boundaries, the stories are also becoming global. So now people understand the importance of co-productions between countries, between the producers of different countries. So we are seeing a spurt in the co-productions happening. So we had about the co-production agreements as a country. We had co-production treaties with 16 countries, and since last year there has been a really big spurt. Like people have increasingly understood the importance of co-production, and Indian producer and the foreign countries film producer are they getting together and making stories where, because whatever comes out of this treaty, a co-production agreement, will necessarily be a film which will be a national film for both the countries. So not just
Wow.
the incentives will be given to both of them from both the countries, but also it will be a national film. So the audience will be both the countries. The audience will be national.
Will
So
benefit.
that way the story will be cross cultural and will be accepted by both the this thing. So there's a lot of work going on in this, and people have a lot of interest in this.
Fantastic. No, I'd agree with that. Just in our latest report, we've actually seen Australia, France, Canada increase their content production with the support of their respective governments and film commissions. Are any of these already your treaty countries? And are you expanding the list of countries where these government treaties are being signed?
Oh, yes. In fact, Australia is the latest edition, which
Ah,
was added last year.
okay.
So, and France and Canada, we already have the co-production treaties.
Nice.
And as we are talking about three, four countries like Colombia, Uruguay, they are in final stages of signing. And
Okay.
about 15 more countries that talks are in also in advanced stages. So in a couple of years, we might just see that these numbers would also, tend to increase a lot, the official co-production treaties,
Understood.
because it enables both the governments to add on the incentive. Like the government of India for a co-production would anyway be giving incentives up to 30-35%, so that can be topped up by the other country as well. And of course the important thing which I said, that the audience, the big Indian audience, will be available also for that kind of release. So that will add into this.
Understood. Understood.
Yeah.
So one related question was that as some of the production studios outside of India start looking at some of the tax incentives that India is offering and want to take advantage of the schemes that you talked about, what are the best ways for them to learn about these policies? Is it updated on your website? Would be great if you could advise our members on that aspect, please. That piece.
So, of course, the website is the sort of, the contact point, the first contact point.
Okay.
There we have uploaded all the incentives and the latest guidelines in terms of FFO.
Right.
And if there are any queries, their numbers given, their email addresses given, on which the FFO officials can be directly contacted.
Okay.
We are also trying to sort of promote this thing, make people aware by way of outreach. So recently we have entrusted the Indian missions also as a contact point for this. So any
Okay.
country, in any country, the Indian mission is also aware of these incentives. We have sort of taken their we have taken their sessions and educated them about this. We have given them the documents which are important to be given to the film commissions also.
Understood.
Then we also sort of promote this by way of some Film in India session at most of the important film festivals. Like in Berlin, the European film market, we had such an important session. And again in Cannes, we are scheduling a session on the 15th of May in the main Marché du Cannes auditorium, wherein such a session will be organized to tell people about the incentives available and how easy or facilitated they are for being available.
That's fantastic. One other aspect I was wanting to touch upon was relating to the outreach program that you talked about. Are you also having certain sort of conferences or launch events in India that you would invite international industry, for their participation?
Yes, in fact, one of the most flagship events is the International Film Festival of India, the IFFI, which happens in November. And along
Right.
with that happens a film market that's called the Film Bazaar. So there we definitely invite the delegates from all across the world. In fact, last year we had films playing in IFFI which had come from 104 countries, and delegates of more than 40 countries had actually attended the IFFI and the Film Bazaar. So that is one important melting point where people can come and experience the Indian Film Festival and also the Indian environment for filming. So there we of course have promote this thing. In fact, there is one more upcoming festival that is called the Mumbai International Film Festival, that will be held between June 15th to 21st in
Okay.
Mumbai. So this is a biennial festival, but it's dedicated festival for documentaries and animation and shorts. In fact, it's your last year's report wherein we noticed that although the content production has been down, but there has been an increasing interest in the world, especially for documentaries, and its percentage of viewing has increased from 14 to 18 point some percent. So
Right.
that's a very heartening thing that people are actually seeing the documentaries. And this year we are trying to upscale the festival, but it will also have for the first time a component of film bazaar for
Okay.
documentaries and animation. So that will also be there. And apart from that, we are also wanting a lot of countries to participate. so that they can tell their film policies, and we can also talk about the kind of incentives and the policies which we have for in offer for the foreign film production. So that is also one important event which people can think of attending.
That's great. One of the things that we're seeing at Vitrina is that there is a tremendous amount of curiosity around Bollywood and the overall film industry, as also some of the new initiatives that you're rolling out. We'll definitely do our bit to propagate these within the Vitrina network to our members. My last question was really going to be relating to some of the milestones and targets that you're tracking over the next couple of years. Is it an overall sort of volume target? Is it a value target of what kind of initiatives that you want to attract within the Indian market?
So one of the important reasons for overhauling the policies or making them really, really simple was to be able to attract a lot of projects. So whoever is interested should be able to come, and the red tape should not be a barrier for anybody to think like that. So that is one of the important.
Okay.
But one of the most important thing which we also considered is upping the cap. So the cap going to $3.6 million means that which is like 40% maximum of a film which is of that kind of a budget.
Right.
So what we're looking at, also projects which are more than $10 million, they also, sort of, get to benefit from the incentive. So the whole purpose was also to be able to attract bigger projects, and
Okay.
they should come here and be a part of it and avail those incentives.
Understood. Understood. No, this is great. Again, lots of headlines for us to carry to for our members, Mr. Kumar. Thank you so much for speaking with us today and sharing details of all the wonderful initiatives and schemes that your ministry is rolling out. On behalf of the Vitrina Business Network, I'd like to thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much for such nice question, and thank you so much for having me here. Thank you.
Thank you so much.